Some people absolutely thrive at university, whilst others much prefer doing an apprenticeship. It just depends on what you're looking for.
I'll be breaking down the pros and the cons of apprenticeships.
And I'll be breaking down the pros and cons of university.
Then we'll be going over the biggest differences between the two, and then hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have a much clearer understanding of which best suits you.
Nice.
If you haven't heard of us before, we're from Hiring, a students' job board. So we're talking to students that make these decisions every single day. Let's start with apprenticeships. Probably the biggest selling point is that you'll get paid. You'll be employed by a company, so instead of paying tuition fees, you'll earn a salary while also learning. This means that your friends may be worrying about student overdraft, while you'll be getting a monthly salary. So if you're looking to save money and get your career started, this is a huge benefit. And speaking of money, your training is also paid for. So you don't pay your university tuition fees yourself because your employer and the government covers them. This can be a huge reason why people opt for doing an apprenticeship over going to university. As compared to university, you'll be spending your money on training, living costs, and end up in debt. So a degree apprenticeship, for example, allows you to get paid to get the experience and qualification. Another massive advantage of apprenticeships is that you'll get real work experience. When employers ask you for any experience that you've got, you actually will have some. Instead of graduating with mostly academic knowledge, you'll already have years of invaluable in-industry work experience, which is really useful, especially now as it's even harder to get a job without work experience. It can also give you a real head start when you're applying for jobs later on. You'll already know how the workplace works, you would have built professional skills, been through the interview process, and you'll have connections too. You also learn by actually doing the job. If you're someone that struggles sitting in a classroom all day, or you learn better getting stuck in, an apprenticeship can suit you much better. Around 80% of your time is working and learning on the job, and the other 20% of your time is spent doing off-the-job training. This is a government requirement, but it doesn't actually mean you'll always be in a classroom. It could be attending university lectures, a workshop, or even online webinars as well. But at the end of the day, most of it is practical. You'll be learning real-life skills and how they're applied within the workplace. One thing people usually get wrong is presuming that apprenticeships are only for trades or other industries such as hairdressing. But this is so wrong. There are apprenticeships in marketing, finance, engineering, law, technology, healthcare, business, and so many other creative industries as well. Another thing that no one actually mentions is that you'll leave with a degree and 3 years worth of pay as well. So if you fancy going travelling to see the world after, you actually have the choice.
Now let's talk about the pros of university. First thing that usually comes to mind is the university experience. Living away from home, meeting loads of new people, joining societies, Freshers Week, making friends from all over the country or even all over the world. For lots of people, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it's probably the last time you'll be able to do something like this without a lot of responsibilities. A lot of students find that university gives them the chance to make new friends, break away from the mold of school life, live away from home and start making decisions for themselves. This can be really helpful for students who have lived at home their whole lives and fancy getting some independence. You'll be able to do this whilst knowing that loads of other people your age are also doing it at the same time. You'll learn to cook, do the weekly food shop, clean, create routine, look after your health and your own money. You'll also be able to create a social life without the boundaries that home might have given you. You'll have the time and the space to figure out who you want to be and also who you want to surround yourself with. You can also try out loads of new hobbies, which you probably won't get the opportunity to do any other time. University also gives you the time to figure things out. At 18, it's completely normal to not know exactly what career you want. University allows you to explore different subjects, meet new people, and explore new interests before setting into one career path. You'll have access to tutors, lecturers, be studying different modules, and have that time to test out what you really enjoy and what you don't. You can also take the chance to do different summer internships and placements, so you are still able to get work experience just without committing to years of your life. Another advantage to university is that you are allowed to make mistakes. Especially in your first year, you can make some questionable financial decisions, take it too far on a night out and miss a 9 a.m, cook some pretty horrific meals and get a bad grade in an essay. But everything will be okay, no one's going to fire you, you'll figure out what seasoning is, and you'll learn how to say no to that last drink. For a lot of students, these skills are the thing that sets them up for life. Another thing to consider is that you're actually going to have summer holidays still. This can just mean a lot more opportunities for summer internships, travelling, part-time jobs, or just enjoying your downtime, which is a lot harder to have in your later years. University can also be the better route if your dream career requires a degree. For example, medicine, dentistry, veterinary science, architecture, psychology, careers like teaching, law, where university is still a very common route. That being said, there are apprenticeships for these industries as well. But yes, essentially, if you want to be a doctor, you will have to go to university. Lastly, university is just great if you actually enjoy studying. If you love learning, writing, researching, or deep diving into a subject, you'll probably enjoy university a lot more than someone who's desperate to start their career.
Now let's be realistic. Apprenticeships aren't perfect. The biggest challenge, of course, is the competition. Some apprenticeships receive hundreds, sometimes even thousands of applications, so getting one can be really competitive. You have to put together a CV and an application that you must take really seriously if you're wanting to go down this route. If you want a template for this, comment CV down below and we'll send you a link to our CV and cover letter template that we have on hiring. You'll also start working full-time much earlier, which will mean early mornings, deadlines, meetings, professional responsibilities. It's a proper job from day one, and you'll be working part of a team, meaning you can't just bunk off or decide that you don't want to go in that day. You have to create a structured routine that will allow you to perform consistently and reliably. You'll usually have less flexibility too. Your friends at university might have random afternoons off, or even weeks at a time over summer where they'll be doing things that you can't get involved in. Meanwhile, you'll probably be working a normal week. So it's definitely a lifestyle change that you'll have to come to terms with, and planning to see your friends will become harder. Another thing is that you're committing to an industry much earlier on than what you usually would if you're going to university. If you realise 6 months in that you actually really hate finance or engineering or marketing, changing direction might be a bit harder than what it would be if you were at university. You'll usually need to find a new apprenticeship with a new employer, and in some cases start a whole new qualification as well. Many apprentices do change employers or career paths, so don't stress too much. But it's not as simple as changing modules or changing to a different degree, for example. And depending on the apprenticeship, you might not get the typical student lifestyle that people may imagine. If living in halls and joining loads of societies and having a traditional university experience is something that you've always dreamt of, that's worth thinking about. You'll of course make friends on an apprenticeship, but depending on the employer and the course you're on, may not be joining with a big cohort of apprentices that are also your age. So your new work bestie may end up being a few years older than you.
Okay, let's talk about the cons of university. Starting with the obvious one, student debt. Tuition fees and maintenance loans means that students usually graduate with a lot of debt. Now, it's worth saying that student loans do work differently to normal debt. You can only repay once you're earning above the repayment threshold, but it can still feel like a big commitment, and it's something you'll be paying back for a while, unlike apprenticeships where you'll be leaving with money and no debt. Another downside is that there's no actual guaranteed job at the end. Having a degree is amazing, but employers also really value experience, and that's a lot more relevant than a couple years ago. You'll often hear graduates saying, "I've got the degree, but every job is looking for experience." That's why doing placements, internships, and part-time work during university is so valuable. And it's definitely something we recommend doing if you go down the university route. Coming out of 3 to 4 years studying to realise you can't get a job is a reality a lot of students are facing at the moment. So it's something you should consider when deciding your path. University is also expensive outside of tuition. Rent, food, travel, social life, books, or equipment can all add up very quickly. A lot of students are fortunate to have help from their parents or their family, which can relieve the immediate financial burden. But a lot of students do have to get part-time jobs to help them through, and it can mean really learning how to live frugally. If you're someone who hates classrooms, writing essays, or sitting exams, 3 to 4 years of university might feel like a long time. You'll be doing a lot of sitting in lecture halls, being given essays to write or coursework to do. And if you found this to be difficult up until this point, university is another level. Plus, you won't have your parents to sit you down and make you do it. So learning how to be self-motivated in an environment of extreme freedom could be challenging. However, this might actually be the best thing for you. So it's all just things to consider. So what's the biggest difference? University is mostly learning first and working later.
An apprenticeship is working and learning at the same time. You're applying what you're learning straight away in a real job.
Neither one is better, they're just different.
So, choose an apprenticeship if you want to earn money. You already have an idea of what career you want. You like learning by doing. You want experience as early as possible. And you'd rather start working than spending years studying.
University might be right for you if you want the full student experience. You're not completely sure what career you want. You enjoy studying. Your dream job requires a degree. You simply just want a few more years to explore your interests before settling into one career.
One thing we really want to say is don't just choose to go to university because that's what all your friends are doing.
And don't just choose an apprenticeship just because everyone online says that they're better. This is your future.
Not TikToks.
Not your parents.
Not your teachers.
Yours.
So, do your research.
Look at real job descriptions.
Watch day in the life videos.
Talk to people already doing a job.
And ask yourself, what kind of life do I actually want?
We hope this answers some of your questions and hopefully made the decision a little bit less overwhelming.
If you've got any questions about university, apprenticeships, placements or grad roles, leave them in the comments, we'd love to answer.
If you're looking for opportunities yourself, Hiring has thousands of grad jobs, internships, apprenticeships and placements, all in one place. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment and subscribe if you found it useful.
And if there's anything else you want us to make a video on, let us know.